Hello, friends. I don't know if it's just me, but I'm noticing a lot of justification out there. I just see so many people, their conversations or hear their conversations and read the posts on different places on social media. And what I notice is that there is a strong sense of justification to be right. So of course, I keep adding a little bit on to my previous YouTubes and just to see, how much can we make conscious what we're doing unconsciously. So I guess I want to say it this way. You don't need to justify yourself for being who you are, for being different, whatever that means to you. You don't need to justify yourself. You can just be yourself. And the word justify, I can almost feel it when I say justify. There is right? There's an energy behind. I have to defend myself and make myself right and kind of defend myself. There is an energy in there. It's like we're going to battle and I have to justify myself. And again, I always want to invite you to just see if this resonates with you. If you can find that energy in yourself as I'm sharing it now, or maybe after you finish watching it. This justifying energy is in one way um, it kind of shows that we are not fully at peace with it in ourselves. And I can definitely relate to that in my own life, probably mostly in the past now. I can't think of anything this moment, but I'm not saying I'm free from it all. But when I was very insecure in myself, I felt I needed to justify myself um, out of fear that somebody was going to make me wrong. And that is definitely a belief system that I lived with most of my life because I had a dad who was always making me wrong. So I had to stand up and justify myself. So I know that energy really, really well. And it certainly has taken me years to really kind of come to maybe the bottom of it. Maybe there's more, who knows? But at least to a place where I just feel at peace. I can just be myself. But that does not mean that I have to share everything about myself to everybody, because I know that there are a lot of people out there who want to make other people wrong, who see things or experience things differently than we do. So the battle is still going. And again, it is part of the matrix. And I'm just kind of trying to keep deflating that matrix balloon that I talked about yesterday. That we just see, how are we pumping energy into that balloon to keep it going? And justification, justifying it ourselves, just feel how much energy that holds compared to I can just be myself. See, there's no challenge, there's no battle. It's just like, yeah, I can just be myself. And what I want to add to that, which I think is probably the most important thing about this, that we do this inside to ourselves. We kind of justify it inside of ourselves as long as we are not fully believing it yet, that it is okay to be myself, that it is okay to be different than you, that it is okay to have a different viewpoint or experience than you. So inside, the battle is always inside of us, as is the resolution, right? To just being myself. But as long as we have this battle inside, because we may never have learned that it is okay to be myself and that we have to justify it and to battle and to convince other people that, this is how I see it and you're not going to tell me otherwise. It's like, okay, I get it. I get it. But in my own experience, and it has a lot to do with setting boundaries. I think setting boundaries is very, very important phase in our evolution because we didn't get to set clear boundaries or we didn't have our boundaries honored. And what are boundaries? It's basically honoring who we are, our values, our expressions, our feelings, our beliefs. When they are not being honored, right, then in order to kind of find ourselves in all of this, we have to start pushing those boundaries out. And we do that for a while against other people to say, like, no, I have the right to feel like this way. It's a phase and it's really necessary. And if you're working on that, I totally celebrate you because it is really important. If we don't do that, these boundaries that were being pushed into ourselves that were not honored, then we really do it to ourselves, don't we? So, like I said, the work is an inner thing where you start honoring what is true for you and finding a place where you feel okay with that. And if you do not feel okay with it yet, then you are probably going to go out there and try and convince people through battle and justification that you have the right to believe this. And we see so much of that in the world right now on all levels, politically, gender wise, um, health wise, where everybody has their own experience and opinion about it, and they want to justify it. It's almost like they have to justify to whoever that is so they can feel okay about it. Maybe it's because we never got the okay when we were little to be who we are and to have a different experience than our parents, that we need to justify it and really kind of bring that energy to it. Those of you, I'm not one of them, who grew up with parents or in a family where you were being honored for who you were not made wrong for everything, like I was, then it's natural. Your boundaries or your value, boundaries is a funny thing. I don't think necessarily we need boundaries if they were honored from when we were little. And the boundaries, they're harsh, right? The boundaries is something you go up against. But once we fully allow ourselves to be who we are, there's no real need for strong boundaries. There's just like, yeah, I can just be who I am. I don't need to justify it with boundaries. And then it becomes much, much softer. That does not necessarily mean that people are going to agree with you or give you the right to be that way. But that doesn't mean we have to argue with them or, have them understand that you have the right to believe this. As long as I feel it deeply in myself, then there is no more need to justify it or feel right about it with other people, convince them. It just disappears. And that's why I think for all of us to, as a self love mentor, learning true self love is a deep, deep inner process where you're still battling with yourself, where you still have to kind of convince yourself that it is okay to be who you are. And by the way, that is a lot of the work that I have seen and in my work as a Hakomi therapist and a self-love mentor, that I can be that outer reflection that was never received as a child, where I can reflect back Like, yeah, it is really okay that you have this experience, see it differently, are not perfect, whatever it is. When I can be that reflection of full acceptance, full allowance, then that gives the other person, in this case, my clients, it gives them a sense of what that feels like, so that that contraction and defense and battle that can start relaxing a little more, and then they can come out like, oh, is it really okay to be like that, or to believe that, or to feel that? And then when they get that sense that, yeah, absolutely, and let's be with that, let's learn from that part now what it is, when it's fully allowed, then that part can start coming out more and more. And then they can start feeling that it is okay to just be themselves. If you hear some noise, it's one of my cats trying to get out. I'll let her out in a moment. So if you feel you are in a place where you have to justify yourself, and you might notice it if you're posting things on social media, you might just notice, like, what am I trying to tell people, they should believe like I do because I am right, or I have the right to believe this. Then they're in that battle. And, when you are in a battle, you need somebody to battle with. If you are in an inner battle, there's a very good chance that you will keep finding outer battles, and you keep wondering, why am I always in these arguments or battles or whatever? Well, it's because there is no peace inside yet with yourself, in your own experience. So, and then, we put it out, and there's more than we need right now, where everybody, wants to put out their opinions and making themselves right and justifying it with all this backup and all this proof. And then, like I talk about so often, then the other side is doing exactly the same. And all we are experiencing is the battle. And the battle is inside each one of us. And when you resolve your inner battle, to justify yourself, to have somebody say, yeah, you're right, because we're not fully feeling it yet, or if we're feeling it to such an extent that we want to fight about it. But what if it's just okay that you have this experience, that you have this worldview that is different than others? What if that is okay? What is the battle going to do about it? What is justifying it going to do for you? Is that going to make you feel more relaxed, at peace? Probably, because you're not alone. But does it have to be through battle? Are you trying to convince people who have a very different view that they're wrong and you're right? What is the point? What is it that you really, really, really want deep inside? Do you want to battle? I think for most people, they will say no. But, right? But I want this. I want peace on the planet. Well, battle is not going to bring peace to the planet. Yeah, but I want people to realize what's going on in the world. Well, what's that going to do for you? What benefit? How is that going to help you get what you want? What is it that you want? Well, if more people see it like I do, then things will change out there. The bottom line is they're not seeing it like you. There's probably 50-50 right now. And each side is trying to convince the other to come over to their side. And like, good luck. That's why I keep saying, take a bigger view, take a bird's eye view, and look at what it is that is actually going on, instead of being lost in the minutia. Take a bigger step. And you might want to argue with me right now. You might feel like, yeah, but Pernilla, I'm right about this. Great. Feel that. Feel that right now, if this is coming up for you. And then get curious about it. It's like, wow, I really want Pernilla to, I'm just saying here in case that happens. But with anybody, it's like, wow, yeah, I really want to make sure that he or she knows that the way I see it is the right one, and I want to convince them that that is so. But it's not going to help. What will help, if anything, is that we find that okayness inside to be who we are. Just be yourself. Don't justify yourself. Such a different energy. And then from there, when you can just be yourself, then you can connect with others who may have that same experience. And then instead of battling the other side, now you can start getting together and say, well, what do we want to create? Why we are in this situation? It looks like the matrix is collapsing and something new is on its way. But if you keep battling the old matrix that's dying, you're just giving it more energy. But if you spend time with that, what you really want with other people, then you can make yourself available, become an outlet for something that lives in here that will make the world a much better place. And as far as I can see, both sides, we all want the same. It's just that we've been programmed differently. We listen to different news outlets and we're being indoctrinated by that. And that's why the battle keeps going. So I'm just trying here to just like, hey, let's stop that. And then each side find out what is it that you really want. And then put your energy into that instead. You'll notice that both sides want the same, but you will not find out as long as you battle with the others. Then you're not hearing each other or listening to each other or realizing that we all want the same. But because we've been so programmed to into duality and fighting and battling and whatever it is, division, that's the word, then we just experience more division. And the peace that's here waiting for us to say, hi, I'm here, come over here, make yourself available for me, then you miss out on that. So here's the invitation, guys. Find out what is it that you really, really, really want. And that's something you feel in here, in the deepest longing of your heart. And when you can let yourself have that and also stop battling with yourself, is it okay that I want that? Is it possible, right? So then there's still a battle. You just fully more and more immerse into that felt sense of longing. And then find other people where you can share that with and then get creative about, well, what can we do? And then you can start little things here and there, whatever that is. Can be small. I shared with you a while ago, we did this free love notes that we went into town and we created these little paper hearts and we gave people, we looked them in the eyes and then wrote down 3 beautiful things that we sense when we look into their eyes, and we gave it to them and they were like, oh, they loved it because we all long for that, right? To be seen for who we are and not judged for who we think they are. It can really, really change. So when we start really diving into that feeling, the felt sense of what we truly and deeply want, then things can change. And that is why I keep offering my monthly online gathering called Feel Your Deepest Longing, Find Your Spiritual Calling. And if you need help with that, my next one it's the first Tuesday of the month. So that will be March 2nd. And I'll put the link in the description below. I would love to meet you there. Wouldn't it be fun that we can interact more than just having a video? So please join me and I would love to meet you. All right. Have a great day.